Hello and welcome to the Shipyard. Today's episode is going to be about medical gameplay, how it works today, and what's in store for the future. Following the vision of life and death mechanic detailed in Death of a Spaceman and the announcement of the new RSI Apollo medical ship, this design post will bring details and clarification about what future medical gameplay will entail. While some elements have evolved from the manifesto written a few years ago, it is still very much the basis for how players will experience injury and death in the persistent universe, so it's still very much a relevant read. The Alpha 3.2 build uses a damage system that consists of critical and standard limbs. Each limb has its own health pool alongside the player's global health. When a limb takes damage, both tick down, and if the global pool hits 0, the player dies. When a limb takes damage, it crosses through several states. Normal is blank, hurt is yellow, damaged is red, and ruined is black. Once a limb enters one of these states, it may implement a negative effect on the player. For instance, if the head is damaged, the player's vision might be blurred. Or if a leg is ruined, movement speed is going to be reduced. The head and the torso are both critical limbs. If the health of either of these reaches 0, the player dies immediately. If other limbs are ruined but the global health pool is above 0, the player remains alive. If these limbs are shot further while ruined, they suffer no additional damage but the global health pool continues to tick down. Bleeding out can occur when shot, but is commonly applied when a limb has been ruined. Bleeding out is a damage over time effect that continues to tick down the player's global health pool and only stops when the player heals or dies. Currently, the only way to stop bleeding and heal is to use med pens, which removes all negative effects and restores global and limb health to 100%. As it is, it's a pretty basic system that doesn't allow you to heal anyone but yourself, which is a big issue in terms of cooperative gameplay. In the future, planet-side medical locations and medical ships will bring different tiers of healing to the universe. Tier 1 is recovery from near-death experiences and fatal injuries. Tier 2 is recovery from serious injuries such as multiple limb bleedouts or ruined limbs. Tier 3 is recovery from minor injuries such as limbs being damaged. While some injuries won't fully heal until the player has received the correct level of treatment, the more basic medical facilities will still be able to keep non-fatally injured players alive and stop bleeding. However, it's not recommended for any injured person to stay in a semi-injured state for too long, as there will be consequences such as reduced stamina. Staying in a damaged state for a long time will also make you weaker against further damage, so it should always be a priority to heal yourself as soon as possible to prevent future mishaps. While recovering health by yourself will cost less and may not be the best way to heal yourself depending on the scenario, calling someone for help via the beacon service will still cost a fee varying on the severity and or the distance of the medical ship, but it may be the only way to fully recover from that injury. Future releases will include new missions centered around this more in-depth medical gameplay. Helping others is something that every player will be able to do to a various degree and with different rewards, but the medical ships naturally are going to have an advantage for these missions. Here's a small section of possible mission types. Medical delivery. Deliver medical supplies, organs, samples, and more. Naturally, this can be done with any ship with cargo capabilities, but a medical ship has the facilities to keep organic and medical cargo maintained for longer. Recovery. Find injured people and heal them, or identify bodies and parts to help put together clues and uncover a wider story. Rescue. Go to a space station or heavily damaged ship to rescue people in an emergency situation. Survivors may have a variety of injuries, so while any ship with a seat can potentially fill the role, keeping patients alive for the return journey is where medical ships will have an edge. As this is already the case in Alpha 3.2, the beacon system will also be used to notify you of any emergencies, be it from another player or automated through other means, like an NPC, missions, etc. Arriving at the emergency location is not the only thing necessary to save lives, as you'll also have to scan around you and sometimes even investigate a scene, as the injured person may have moved since the notification was sent. In the near future, new respawn points will be introduced. Unlike the current system, dying or falling permanently unconscious in space or on a planet won't mean that you'll just respawn at your last visited location. Instead, you'll respawn at a nearby medical station or on a medical ship. Being near a major location like Hurston will give you the option to respawn in their dedicated facility, but dying on a remote moon would only give you the option of smaller medical outposts. Having a medical ship in the vicinity allows you to respawn there providing a bed is available, but this is only for a limited amount of time before returning you elsewhere. As mentioned in Death of a Spaceman, the goal is still to show you how many deaths and respawns your character has experienced, and for that to have a somewhat persistent effect over time. While the newly announced RSI Apollo is the reason for this new design post, it's not the first medical ship that's been announced so far. The two other ships that were made for this career path have not been forgotten. In fact, all three provide distinct roles. The Apollo is a medium-sized clinic for uncharted regions. The Endeavor can be a complete hospital, and the Cutlass Red is a well-equipped ambulance and the entrance to the medical career. The player can graduate from one to another like in the other careers, or focus on perfecting just using one. Like other roles, a ship might be more useful for specific missions, while another might play a wider role in the PU. It's your choice to make. A link to the original Death of a Spaceman article will be provided in the description of this video. If you're interested at all in this mechanic or in the medical profession, I would highly suggest giving it a look. Well, that's it for the medical profession and all the information there is to give. Thanks for dropping by. Take care. This is Law of the West, signing off.